exercising all the functions of an incorporation company. There is no responsibility of the shareholders to pay the unsecured debt to the creditors, because Solomon only was the shareholder. You invested in the company, not in the Solomon. That is why Solomon personally is not liable to pay the debts to anyone. And Solomon, being a shareholder, being a debenture holder, is entitled to get back his money from the company. So if the Solomon obtained his debentures, encashed the debentures from the company, there is nothing wrong in this. And because your debt, your credits was unsecured, that is why no one is liable. Because right now, after dissolution of company have nothing to pay. Because company have nothing, then how the company can pay to you? Party by so many ways try to convince to the court that this is Solomon, all is Solomon, everything is Solomon, Solomon is the owner. House of Lords said Solomon was not the owner. Don't be misguide yourself. Solomon was not the owner, Solomon was the promoter only. And after promotion, after incorporation of the company got a legal entity, separate legal entity, and Solomon's agreement was recognized by the registrar, whatever the contract made by the Solomon before the registration. So all the agreements in the form of debenture, in the form of shares, these was recognized by the registrar of the companies. That is why Solomon is himself entitled to get his money back. But what about you? You can claim over the company. If the company have, company will pay. If company do not have, company can't pay, company will dissolve. This is the pure legal status of the company. That is why if the company is not, if the promoter is not entitled to get the benefit, then promoter is not entitled to for the loss of the company also. But with this company, if the promoters or board of director will do something wrong, or beyond the article of association, or beyond the memorandum of association, or beyond the company law act, they will liable for the prosecution, because they do not having a ownership over the company. See, in the same manner, if company is earning a lot of money, and now the shareholder want to say to the company that please divide all the benefit, they can't call it. They can't compel the company to pay the shares of profit. But what the company can do? Company can provide you the dividend. Dividend means a part of profit. And whatever remaining, company is entitled to invest, company is entitled to make their own policies, company is entitled to make their plannings, company is entitled to form a subsidiary company, company is entitled to invest anywhere. Who will do? By the board of director. It is necessary in the board of director there must be a major shareholder? No. Because board of directors will be appointed by the annual general meeting of the company. By the annual general meeting of the company. In annual general meeting, all the shareholders had to give the verdict in favor of the director. Then the director may be appointed. There is some condition that director must have some shares. These are the legal conditions. The director must have some shares. Even director may be appointed by obtaining one share in the company. But director have some separate status. Directors are the employee of the company. They are working on behalf of the company. They are not working on behalf of the shareholders. Whatever the director want to do, if they are doing as per the article of association or as per the memorandum of association, they do not have to get the recognition from shareholders. They do not have to get the recognition from the shareholders, because article of association is already permitting. If the article of association is already permitting, then where is the need for the consent of the shareholders? If the article of association is saying that for such and such purpose you have to obtain the consent of the shareholders or verdict of the shareholders, then it is essential to get the consent of the shareholders. Otherwise, if article of association is permitting, memorandum of association is permitting, there is no need for the decision of the shareholders, or there is no need for the consent of the shareholder or assent of the shareholders. But what about annual general meeting? In annual general meeting, this is the duty of the board of directors to produce all the status, all the transactions and all the data sheet of the company before the shareholders in annual general meeting. And after annual general meeting, they may amend the article of association, they may amend the memorandum of association, and after amendment have to got again recognition from the ROC. If ROC recognized it, then new rules and regulation will come in existence. Otherwise, no, board of directors is sufficient to do the function of the company. And board of director of the opinion that we have to share only 5% of the profit to the shareholders, then shareholders are entitled to get the 5% of the profit only. 95% will belong to the company. And now the amount of the profit of 90%, 95% may be invested by the board of director anywhere as per the article of association. But it is not true in case of partnership firm, because in partnership firm they are the shareholder, they are the partner, they are the owner as well as the agent of one another. So without the assent of the owners, partnership firm can't do anything. But in case of company, it's a vice versa. It's a totally reverse situation. Company is itself a legal entity. If the company see, we have another case, Lee versus Lee Air Forming Limited. Lee versus Lee's Air Forming Limited. It is a very important case itself. Of 1961. What was the fact of this case? Actually, Mr. Lee, he was the pilot. He formed a company with the name of Lee's Air Farming Limited. They had so many aircrafts in this company and all was working. One day, Mr. Lee, when he was flying the aircraft, crashed. Mr. Lee died. After the death of Mr. Lee, Mrs. Lee filed the case against the company to obtain the compensation. Company established by who was the promoter? Mr. Lee. Who was major shareholder? Mr. Lee. Who was the sole pilot? Mr. Lee. Whose aircraft was there? Mr. Lee's. But he formed a company. So the shares of the Mr. Lee and debentures of the Mr. Lee was encashed by the Mrs. Lee. But now she filed a case against to get a compensation from the company for the death of Mr. Lee. Now the creditors of the company want to say to the court that everything was Mr. Lee. We was invested in Mr. Lee's company. So first right belongs to me, to the creditors, that Mr. Lee and company has to pay first to the creditors, and remains or belongs to the Mr. Lee and Mrs. Lee. What the problem is, there is? Everything was Mr. Lee, aircraft was belonged to Mr. Lee, pilot was Mr. Lee, company belongs to Mr. Lee, so everything was Mr. Lee. So Lee Farming Company has to pay the credits first, whatever the dates they had first, and whatever are remaining belongs to Mrs. Lee. So she can get everything, compensation, whatever they want. But Honorable Court in this matter said, yes, if Mr. Lee was the debenture holder, Mrs. Lee was the debenture holder, then debenture has to encash first. If she and he was the shareholder, as a successor of the shares, she is entitled to obtain to encash her share. Then if Mr. Lee died on the aircraft of the company, then compensation has to be paid by the company. So company have to pay compensation first to Mrs. Lee, and then whatever is remains, company you can obtain from the company. And unfortunately, nothing was left after this compensation. So creditors gone. It is a legal status of the company, defined by two cases. Lee and Lee Farming Company, Salomon was the first international case, but before Salomon and Salomon, there was an Indian case also in 1860 itself. That was Kandoli Tea Company Limited. Kandoli Tea Company Limited, it was a judgment of Calcutta High Court. Now, second feature, limited liability. Limited liability. See, when the 100% investment in the company made by the shareholders, and they agreed that we shall be liable for each and every function of the company, then you can't obtain the extra benefit, but you shall be liable towards the company if loss is bared, because you was the promoter, you are the shareholders, and you agreed before the registrar that we will be liable. So after 1856, the liability was also checked by the legislators, and now the company may be established with a limited liability. Limited liability companies does not mean that the company having a limited liability. Limited liability company means the shareholders having a limited liability when the company will bear the loss. Suppose if any person form the company with the unlimited liability, it means whatever the loss will be bared by the company, all will be bared by the shareholders. Suppose shareholders invested in company 10,000 rupees, company got a status of 100,000 crore rupees. Now company bear the loss of the 100,000 crore rupees. So all the loss will be bared by the shareholders, because it was an unlimited liability company. Shareholder was agreed at the time of promotion to the registrar that whatever the loss will be bared by the company, the whole loss will be bared by us or by the members in case of unlimited liability company. So whatever the loss will be bared by the company, all the shareholders as per the percentage of the share, they have to pay the loss. Like partnership firm. But after 1856, when the limited liability formula of limited liability company was established, then the shareholders at the time of obtaining the share, at the time of purchasing the share, at the time of promotion, at the time of establishment of the company, they can make an contract that we will be liable only to the face value of the shares, or they can give a guarantee that 100 times of the share value or 10 times of the share value we shall be liable, or for the 1,000 rupees maximum we shall be liable, for the 20,000 rupees maximum we shall be liable, and after this liability all will be paid by the company itself, not by the shareholders. So this is the concept of limited liability company. So company may be limited by the shares and by the guarantee. By the shares means any percentage of the share or total face value of the share. They can give the guarantee, or they may be liable, they should be liable to the particular extent of the face value of the share. So whenever we will say that the limited liability company by shares, it means they are liable only to the face value of the share, not to the market value of the share. Suppose you purchase a share of face value of 20 rupees, and right now you purchase this share by 60,000 rupees. but the face value of the share is only 20 rupees. Then in case of beer, you shall be liable only for 20 rupees, nothing else. But when you are saying that I am purchasing the share with unlimited liability, then you was purchased the share by 4 rupees, but the face value of the share was 10 rupees, you have to pay remaining 6 rupees. If you purchase the concessional share from the company by 4 rupees and the face value of the share was 10 rupees, now in case of loss you have to pay all the loss. In case of limited liability company by shares, you have to pay remaining 6 rupees. In case of limited liability company by the guarantee, then you have to pay remaining amount of the guarantee, whatever you was guaranteed to the company. So this is the concept of